Right.
All right, what'd you say? What episode is this, Romo?
50-50.
Alright, this is gonna be about what, Chris?
Parenting.
Alright, parenting.
That's the one thing you gotta have being a parent, bro. You gotta have endless amounts of energy.
And endless amounts of energy.
I'm gonna preface this one where you ain't gonna hear me talk hardly at all on this one because I don't really have a spot in this. I don't have a horse in this race.
But he kind of raised Romo, so I don't know.
I don't know.
Romo's daddy.
Well, nah, I didn't do that great of a job then, so I shouldn't be talking.
We all think that we didn't do a great of a job, but we did better. We all did better. That's what you gotta remember. You might think you're not doing a great job, but you're doing better. Yeah. Like, sometimes I didn't think nothing, but like, you know, again, I remember the other day when I was saying what I did with my kid, and then Vino was like, good dad shit, and then that kind of stuck with me, and I didn't think about it until like today, and I was like, you know what, that was cool that he pointed that out.
Mm-hmm.
I
think that's one thing I've came across. You know, I guess for people who don't know, I don't have kids of my own, but I have, you know, helped raise and I guess be there for my 3 nephews, in which their dad and their mom have not been the best and whatnot. So at 16, that was something different, you know, to be there for, I guess, a child of my own that didn't have anybody there besides me and my mom and dad, but they were always working. Right. You know, always dealing with other stuff. So kind of stepped into that role of being a father to them as much as I could. But the one thing, like I was saying, I ran into is you always second guess yourself. You know, you always wonder and ponder, like, you know, am I doing the right thing? Am I raising them right? And, you know,
just like chess.
Yeah.
You gotta most of the time go with their instinct, but then sometimes don't go with their instinct. Right?
Yeah.
Because then that might be a repeat of what your parents did. And that's not always good.
Sorry.
Alright, I'm gonna say what not to do. Hey, don't like throw shit at your spouse in front of your kids. Cause that's just pretty scary.
Chris, what the fuck?
Cause I saw that shit.
I'll go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's all good.
I think that should go more in line of like.
No, fighting, you gotta keep it civil in front of your kid. Because that's a whole nother thing, right? Because that's relationships with children. Because I'm a single dad.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't even... I had to separate so that because we weren't... Because of that, because we couldn't work together, it was better separate.
I feel you, but it could also go on how you grew up too. You know, and then as far as me as well, you know, when you see your parents argue, it's not easy to see. So it probably is something that you should try to refrain from in front of your kids. Just try to keep the arguments between y'all's in the private room, not in front of the kids. And not let it escalate more than what it should in front of them.
The goal, I think, is to be able to have a conversation. Just like the goal is to be able to do it in real life. It's fucking hard sometimes, but to just keep face and then just have a conversation about it. To control your emotions, but that's just hard.
Yeah. You know, the one advice I would give people whenever you're raising your kids, whenever they're newborns, is just have patience. It takes a lot to be able to run on 3 or 4 hours of sleep and to get up every morning, because you're going to have to get up early. You're going to get up when that baby crying. You're not going to know what's going on or what it is or what's what.
Well, you just guess. First, I mean, it's like they usually, at least with my son, he was either hungry, or or his diaper was dirty, or sometimes I just had to like walk him around or something like.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get to is have the patience and don't panic, because sometimes it could be that it could just be they just want to walk around. They just need some comfort, some care, somebody there.
Right. But I think that's why I think weed helps parenting. Like not too much weed, but a little bit of weed can help you. Like if my dad would have had, I think it would have, like if my dad or my grandpa or his dad would have had weed instead of, well, my grandpa used alcohol, right? And that just feels anger. You know, my dad didn't necessarily use alcohol, but I think with me, I think it helped my parenting. Because then it kept you calm in that situation. It keeps me calm in that situation.
well, that's a slippery slope right there.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to always be stoned and shit.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope, bro.
Well, I do, but alright.
Because there's some people who can't handle, if they don't have it, then how are you going to be able to deal with it? Because now you're dealing with a child and an addiction. It's not a good balance.
Right.
Like I'm saying, you gotta have a lot of patience and a lot of time for it.
You're right,
You know?
and you know what? That reminded me because when I didn't get a job because I failed the drug test at Target, I quit smoking weed, and I didn't have no problems quitting because I needed to find a job because I had a kid already.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. I mean, there's priorities, bro. The priority is your kid now. The kid is first now, no matter what.
Now I'm not saying you shouldn't just have like a little yourself time and unwinding time, but don't make it to where you're dependent on that to be able to raise your kid. Right. Like it's not a good balance, because then when you don't have it, you start getting real, anxieties, attacks, and you don't know what, you start panicking. Just try to learn the key thing is just patience and love and nurturing. Nurturing. I keep saying nurturing. It's really just care, love and care.
And then there's a time where you're gonna recall and you're gonna miss the times when your kid talked a lot. Because when they get to the preteens and shit, and the teenage years, they're not gonna want to talk. It's gonna be like pulling fucking teeth to try to get them to talk sometimes, right? Especially like grandparents and shit. So when they're young and they want to talk.
See, I'm not in that stage yet.
Fucking talk to them though, but like if they actually answer all those stupid ass questions that they ask you, like, why? They just, have conversations with them, and then that way you know that when they get to that point when they're more introspective and more observant around adults, then you'll know that at least they absorbed a lot and they asked a lot whenever just because a lot of times they're like, shut up, here, take a tablet. Don't do that shit. Like that shit is just harm them.
I feel you.
Make sure you take them outside, take them to the park and shit.
Spend time with the kids. Yeah. Don't let work take too much of your time away from them, because that's something. Or playing. Yeah. I think because I see a lot of young parents, at least parents that are around, that are my age, that I see on my Facebook and Instagram, and I see that they spend a lot of time with their kids. And that's a good thing. They've learned to balance the work life with, spending time with your kids. And that's a good thing.
What's interesting about that, though, is, a lot of people show front on Instagram and Facebook, right? It's not always reflective of their actual home life. So don't let that Instagram lifestyle, family lifestyle, control. Make sure you're actually doesn't look good, but y'all feel good too. Y'all need to feel good too. That just look good.
I've heard. Man, I think the most interesting thing was I never knew I could be this patient. That's the main thing I've learned since I was 16 and helping with Joshua is the patience you gotta have.
Right.
It's something different. But I never had patience like that. You can ask anybody, I don't have patience like that. But they've made me learn it.
Right. Do you see yourself in them a little bit?
Oh yeah.
Their blood.
A lot. I think a lot. Anybody who's met my kids, they see me in all of them, and they're not even my own kids. But
they're your brother. They're the next thing. They're close, fucking close to it though. Like one DNA over and then be your kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's it called? Don't if it's not working out, man. Some things that some moms don't realize till later. Don't take that shit out on the kids, man. Sometimes it don't work out between the parents and shit, but the kids need both. Despite what society says, despite what some people say, oh, they don't need your dad, they don't need the dad, or they don't need this, bro. It's ideal for them to have both. They're not always gonna have both, and that's just life. You know what I'm saying? But if you can, if you have that ability, and your dad's not like a fucking crackhead, and they're trying, let them see him.
Yeah. And I can tell you from experience, with the two younglings and their backstory, that's gonna play a big role in their future.
Yeah.
Their mom and dad not really being there a lot. And I know it affects them. As much as I hate that it does, I know it does. You know, and it's not anything against them. It's just obstacles in life that I have to help them learn. And I think that's another thing that, as far as we grow, you know, they're growing too, so we have to mature even more for them, so they can learn how to deal with the certain hard aspects of life that we have to deal with.
Yeah. Yes, if you do it, if you allow it to change you correctly, if you allow the child to change you correctly, you'll start learning more too. Mm-hmm. And they'll teach you patience, and they'll teach you to observe different things.
Because it's not just about you anymore. It's as soon as you have that kid, and as soon as it becomes a big part of your life, like it should, you know, you stop living life as just about you now. You know, you start living life for something else. You know, you have a why, right, a reason to get up every morning and to go to work and do everything, and to keep going, and to maintain yourself, and to maintain that role model, that hero aspect to those kids, or to your own kids, because you know you're their first hero. That's what you always have to look at. That's the main person that they look up to is their own father or mother. You know.
Even when they're older, even when they're teenagers, and you don't think so, then subconsciously they're
always subconsciously. It's a constant thing that plays in the back of your head. I don't care who you are, bro. Like you would want your dad's approval, or you would want just that I'm proud of you or something like that.
And that's so weird.
Yeah.
Like no matter. But I wonder if I still would, I'm sure I still would, no matter the situation. Even if he was like. Also, it's never too late. If you fucked up for a while, it's never too late.
No, it's never too late.
Shit, it's never too late until it's too late. I mean, like, get back into your kid's life as soon as you can. Like,
know that the longer you take, the more time it's gonna take for you to mend it. Yeah. But it's never too late. Right. You know, the blood's thicker than water, and that's the one thing that I've help with my nephews, is that I don't fuel that hatred towards their parents. I keep it as level as I can, and quell any anger and emotion that they have towards them, and just to keep the door open towards them. I just hope that these two don't hurt them, because that would just break me completely. But you know,
that's out of your hands. Mm-hmm. But you've done what you can to prepare them in case that they always know that they have either.
To prepare them for the emotions in which is going to come with it, because I know it'll come in the future. But
even maybe it won't happen. Maybe
maybe it won't. Maybe they'll be able to be more mature than I would have been if it were me at that age than anything else. You know, because they're just they surprise me every day with the new stuff that they do. You know, like Joel, he's an engineering little boy. Like I give him blocks, and he just creates these little structures that it's amazing to see what he creates. He creates pyramids.
How old is he?
He's just 5 years old.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So to see that creative mind is just something different, you know. And he's the one that was born with the cleft lip and palate.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he's had to have surgery. I've had to spend. It was 4 to 6 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks after he had his surgery that he could not bump his head. He could not run into anything. He could, the slightest bump or the slightest tear or the slightest fall could rupture the repair that they did to to repair his lip and whatnot.
Bro, I would have been
4 to 6 weeks, bro.
Yeah, you were on him.
Man.
He was right next to you the whole time, right? Like y'all would sleep together, like you wouldn't let him.
Bro, it was the most stressful 4 to 6 weeks of my life, dog. Like, there are so many close calls where I've opened the door and he was like right there, and if I would have moved it ever so slowly, even more, I would have hit him dead in the face. Like, there have been times where my mom's opened the cabinet and almost hit him. I picked him up and moved him. There's times where I've heard plates crash and they all crash around him but don't hit him.
Yeah.
And oh my God, bro! Like,
God, bro.
I guess that's another thing these kids have done is they've kept me on my toes. Because they've all done something to keep me on my damn toes. Every one of them.
Y'all, they've already gotten. Damn, one had a clip. Have they already gotten stitches?
Yeah. Joshua actually had to have his appendix removed when he was 8 years old. Dang. 7 or 8 years old.
That must have been stressful.
Oh man, dude.
Because there's always like a small % chance, right, that everything could go wrong. Like, I don't mean to be.
I don't like to think about it like that.
No.
You know, I trust these surgeons
right.
with whatnot, but yeah, there is that chance that something could go wrong.
But the majority of but it's 2021. That's like a regular surgery.
Where?
Yeah, that shit they do every fucking
Now,
day.
if he didn't go in when he went in and we would have prolonged it, there more so. Now we were looking at it.
It's just been more risky.
Yeah,
but they still would have got it though. They would have been.
Yeah, it would have been fine. Yeah. But yeah, and Noah's the only one. No, wait, he's had his nose busted, but he hadn't had stitches. It was funny when he first. It's not funny, but it was just his reaction when he first like busted his nose because his brother hit him.
He didn't break it though, right?
Nah, he just bloody nose.
Yeah.
So he's like, and I'm like, oh my god, no. He's like, what? He's like, touches his nose. He looks at his hands. He's already crying because he's in pain. And so when he looks at his hands, he's never seen blood before. Oh. So when he touches his nose, he looks at his hands. He doesn't know what he's looking at. He's like, what is this? And he does it. He's like, ah!
Like a murder scene.
Yeah, he just starts panicking because he didn't know what's coming out of him. And I'm like, Noah, tilt your head back. You know, I put a napkin in his nose. I'm like, tilt your head back. Stop.
Oh, I used to have so many nosebleeds as a kid. I used to hate. But I don't think you're supposed to put your head back because it's like then it starts going like this.
I don't know.
But that's what I used to do as a kid. Work, but that's what they say now. You're not supposed to. I'm like, it worked as a kid though.
Yeah, he's like,
yeah. I mean, I don't know. They always change the rules.
You know, I'm gonna tell you a funny story. With these boys was I remember having a conversation with my homie. And I remember he asked me, he was like, if you could have kids, how many kids would you have? And I remember distinctly telling him, I want 3 boys.
No girls?
No girls. I just wanted 3 boys.
I want a little girl.
And God blessed me with 3 nephews. So then, fast forward about 6-7 years later, you know, I've been around the block raising these boys and doing what I gotta do. You know, by the way, you know, Joel and Noah are Irish twins. Never mentioned that. They're 11 months apart. So not only I'm helping raise kids, but I'm raising twins.
Basically.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We're gonna have to do like a part raising teenagers because later on it's gonna be crazy.
But I remember distinctly having this conversation with Vino because he asked me. He was like, "So you know, you said you raised 3 boys. You know, have you rethought about like what kind of how many kids you wanted, this and that?" I'm like, I've raised 3 boys. And I know the experience of it. I know how to deal with it. You know what I'm saying?
You're still raising them though.
Yeah. I was like, but if I were to have a kid, I would want a little girl. Not even a month after we have this conversation, my niece comes back into my life, and I'm like, and she's 13. She was 12 years old when she came back.
So when was the last time you saw her before then?
When she was 4 years old.
Damn.
Joshua was like 2. That was the last time I seen her.
That's crazy. So, she's in your life now?
Yeah.
That's cool. How's that going?
It's wonderful. It's everything that I wanted. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all of them are together. And that's what I kind of want. Because the way it is, it's like, the way I'm bringing them up is not to worry about how you started off in life. It's about how you're going to finish it off.
Right.
It's not to have these regrets. It's not to have this hatred. And it's also to build that unity and that brothership between those kids. And it's to know that if your parents aren't going to be there, y'all have each other no matter what. I'm here, but I can't be here for everything. Right. Y'all 3 have to watch over each other. Y'all 3 have to not be a responsibility for watching over each other, but as a brothership, as a brotherhood, as representing the Romo family. This is what it represents. Is what it needs to be.
Right.
Because that's what I'm doing with my older brother. It's You know, I could have easily just said, nah, I don't want to do this. You know, I don't want to raise these kids. You know, why me? But
Right.
because I made a promise to them, because, you know, they needed somebody, I stepped into the role for them. Because that's what brothers would do for each other. And I do it for my oldest brother, too. You know, it's something that I want to build with these three boys. To know that they got each other. And that's what's always going to matter.
So don't isolate your kids. Make sure they spend time with their family.
Mm-hmm.
They need to spend time with family and friends and shit.
Mm-hmm. And that's a better way for you to build a bond with the kids. And I'm hoping that this will transition in the teenage years where they can be more comfortable to tell me, you know, the stuff that we had to go through during puberty, you know, all the things that was going through our minds and stuff. I wish I had
that we didn't have nobody to talk to.
I wish, yeah.
Or if we did, it wasn't really like.
It wasn't really that good of advice, you know what I'm saying? But it's also for us to stay educated too. And to understand them and what they're going through. It's been 10 years since we've been through that.
It's gonna be different. It's gonna be similar, but it's gonna be different.
But we can't also hold it like they're gonna do the same thing I did as an 8. No, they're different. They're different. They are you, but they're different in the way that they're thinking. You can, you know, you can do it different.
Trust them.
You gotta do it different.
Yeah.
You know, don't be so aggressive. Don't be so like, you know, I gotta help and prevent. No, give them the tools and the guidance to where they can make their own decisions on their own.
They gotta fuck up sometimes.
Yeah, and don't harsh them down when they make a mistake. You know, that's the one thing I've seen lately is you be so hard on kids. Sometimes I'm hard on the kids, and it shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't be too hard, but you gotta show them some structure.
Yeah.
Because there's some kids that have no structure, but the parents just let them do whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
It's a balance. Everything's a fucking balance.
Yeah.
You know? Yep, what we got there? 22. What other advice you got for parenting? So should we put the talk in there or no? That's a whole.
That's more like teenage type of thing. I think it's been a little early. But I've heard that they're in 5th grade. They're starting to teach sexual education.
I mean I told my son about porn. I was like, look, there's stuff out there that that you don't wanna, like, God doesn't want you to. He wants us to find somebody and it's more healthy mentally, emotionally. When you're an adult and you find somebody you love, and then like when y'all are in love, then y'all show each other. It's not healthy to look at other strangers naked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then it fucks you up. It just fucks you up. And I told him that, and then it'll make it harder for you to fuck and shit. Like, and I didn't say it like that, but that's the truth. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and just shit like that. Like, and I was like, so I don't want to get into porn and shit, right? So that's a big thing. Just porn is so prevalent now, and it fucks up so many people.
Yeah.
I've also told him to like respect women, man. Mm-hmm. He's already had like a girlfriend and stuff, and he kind of had to go through it. Like, she kept his skateboard and shit, and I was like, well, you know,
what you gonna do, bro?
Yeah, it's gone. Shouldn't have gave it to her, but you did, and it's gone. It's alright. You got another one. Yeah. And it hurts, but you live and you learn, man. And then I think so now he focuses he focuses on his homies, but you know, I think it's also they learn the type of girl that they want to date and shit. Because the type of girl that he was with, she was kind of like, I don't know, nice. Like, I used to go for the girls that weren't like me. Like, I was kind of shy for a while, right? And I would go for these outgoing girls and stuff. Like opposites attract. They would go for me for some reason.
Yeah.
My dad would be like, he'd be like, man, you can have as many girlfriends as you want, this and that.
Damn.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, go and do what you gotta want to do.
Could be a little whore, and I was like, alright.
Yeah, my kids are really innocent. You know, they're not at that point.
How is the oldest? 8?
Joshua is gonna be 10.
Well, the girl's 13. But y'all not that close yet, right? Like, where she's
no,
not
we're
gonna
not.
ask you questions.
I haven't asked her anything like that yet. I don't
Yeah,
think she's that comfortable to talk to me about that.
That's too
But
big.
you know, I mean, even if she listens to this, and even if she, you know, or whatever, you know, she can talk to me about whatever it is. I'll tell her how a guy thinks or whatever it is, and even if if the guy ends up breaking her heart, you know, I'll be there for her to help guide her through it. You know, even with her and my other 2 nieces too. I got 2 other nieces too.
Okay.
But in any of them, you know, I help them out with either one. You know, how those guys would think and how they just, you know, be that good uncle that I'll uplift you or whatever, and also know that, you know, I am another, you know, that this is a, how do you say it? It's a good role model. Oh, you know what I'm saying?
Right. You want to be the male figure role model that because you don't want them going for fuck boys. Pretty much. Don't be a fuck boy, because then otherwise that's usually the kind of dude they go for, is what they see.
I already know that I'm my niece's favorite uncle.
Alright, man.
But no, she's already
know that.
Yeah. But
she told you?
She's told her mom that, and you know, so I was hanging out with me. You know, we're always watching movies. You know, we're always hanging out and doing stuff like that whenever she comes to the.
How many uncles does she have to pick from?
I don't know.
For you to be their favorite.
Doesn't matter. I'm the favorite, so who gives a shit?
She has one uncle.
She has one uncle. That's all that matters.
Yeah, as long as you're the favorite one.
Man. Oh wait, she's got my oldest brother too. But yeah, we're not worried about it.
Being a good parent also requires you to be a good son.
Yeah.
You gotta show them respecting your parents and shit.
Yeah, that is a major one too. You also gotta teach them too. It's like when your parents are also telling you shit you don't like, how to handle that too.
Ooh, and that's hard.
Yeah. Because if you lash out, they're gonna lash out against you. Because it's like, well, you don't respect your parents. What the hell should I respect you?
Right.
Doesn't help. You know.
Especially nowadays when it's a lot of times we have our children around our parents a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I remind them of manners, man. Like, thank you or no thank you, yes thank you, because that shit.
That's the one thing I was gonna say again. Is like some people would say don't spoil your kids, but it's like nah. You know what? If you want to give them the world, then give them the world, but give them discipline with it too. It's like, don't raise a bunch of spoiled, rude motherfuckers. Raise some spoiled, proper, and thankful kids. You know what I'm saying?
Spoiled, but know that they're spoiled.
Spoiled and proper, not spoiled and rotten. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's kind of a little saying I got for myself. I don't know where I heard it from. Probably heard it somewhere, but yeah.
And shout out to my parents for being open-minded and being there for me through all my shit. I mean, you know, they were super young. We had to learn together.
Same with mine too. I know that. But my dad was brought up. If he could, he probably would throw me at the age of 18. But alright, good luck. But you know, luckily he hasn't done that. He's understood. He's been understanding with that and helped me. He's understood that the role I've played, and also that it would not be wise to just do that. When I'm ready to go, I'll be ready to go. Which he knows that, so it's not difficult. It's just being there for these boys, make sure they're good.
And I think because like my dad wasn't there a lot as a kid, so like he's trying to catch up, which is like I said, it's never too late. Man.
It's never too late, bro.
It's
never too late.
Shout out to all the parents that are in their children's lives. Shout out to even if you're, because I feel like teachers are parents, and everybody's kind of a parent to somebody. If you have any kind of effect on anybody's influence on any child's life at all, you're a parent.
Never take that for granted. Cherish it. And I guess the last point I make too is, for those, because I know there's single dads out there that have those horrible baby mamas that just use the child as a bargaining chip and this and that. And it's the one advice that I could tell the best advice that I could tell those guys is that, your kid sees that. Trust me, they see that. The way you gotta be is just continue to be that father to your kid, no matter how difficult it gets. Because there's gonna be, you can always take it to court,
and in the long run,
it'll pay off in court.
Yeah. And the kid will see it eventually. Yeah. Even if at first they're like, no, I want to be a mom and this and that. Eventually they'll see that mom is a crazy. They'll just see they'll see the real.
They'll see it, because real will recognize real. Yeah. And if you're there for your kids and you continue to be that fatherly figure every chance that you get, your kid will always remember. You know what? Every time that I was with my dad, I had a great time with him. No matter what my mom would say, you know, no matter what she would say, no matter what she would do or whatever, I always had a good time with him.
And even if it's not always a good time, because sometimes my dad wouldn't make me do shit because I didn't want to do it, so I didn't learn a lot of shit.
That too.
So sometimes you gotta force them to be a little bored or something.
But yeah.
It's okay for your kids to be a little bored. Because kids, they don't want to be bored and I'm bored and they always got a gadget or some shit.
I always tell them figure out something to do. Or I'll give them something to do.
There's always something to do. There's to get clean or something.
That's what I tell him. I'm like, well, I mean, you know, I got clothes I need folded. You know, I got dishes that need to be washed. You know, he's like, oh, yeah, go find something to do. If not, I'll find something to do.
And then I don't mind reminding kids that there's kids in the world that wish they were fucking bored, that they're doing fucking slave labor and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're lucky you're bored, son. But that's kind of mean. I wouldn't say that, but you know. But if you have a brat, remind them. Show them a video. There's a video on YouTube that shows these African kids mining for lithium.
Oh my god.
And like they have missing limbs and shit.
I'm not gonna show them all that now, bro.
No, not your kids. But there's some kids that need to see that.
Yeah.
That's like Father Cabal for kids. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Gotta wake a motherfucker up.
I
Love them though. Hug them.
Yeah.
Kiss them.
Yeah. Show your kids love and whatnot. And you can see the I guess the beauty of how your kids will grow up to be.
Tell them that you love them.
Mm-hmm. Don't be that father that doesn't like to show emotion, but show your sons a little emotion.
It isn't. It just you.
It makes them too hard.
Yeah. Plus, you need that too. It gives you good energy.
Yeah.
When you hug your kid, it feels good. Not in a weird way. It feels good.
Yeah. Do you have anything else that we think we should?
You think we missed anything?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, you weren't listening. Nah, I think that's a solid. At least part one. For parenting is that's a lifelong thing. So this is just beginning.
This is just our experience and what we've learned so far. Because I have 10 years going on with it. You have and 3 boys. You have
12 with 1 kid.
Yeah.
But I worked 8 years with a lot of kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got a teaching job too, and
right.
you got an even more important job because you're handling the next generation of people.
Bro,
not to add pressure to your job or whatever, bro.
Right? But yeah, and for the people who are worried about the next generation, there's just like with us, there's always gonna be smart kids that they're gonna see through the bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there's gonna be some that fall behind, but you know, I try to put like a little spark, like, hey, yo, you know. But, you know, think about this.
And you always be that teacher at the top, remember, too.
Yeah, hopefully for good.
Yeah, because I always remember all those teachers that pump positivity into my life or into what I do.
Even there's been times where I'm, like, stern with a class, and they still like me and shit.
Yeah, so they can respect that. Man.
All right, man.
Yeah, any questions that people got, you know, just ask. We'll do another bit.
We'll try to answer the best we can. That'd be cool. It'll answer questions.
Yeah, we'll do a part 2 that's like any advice that we could give.
And if you're not ready to be a parent, man, strap that willy.
Don't have them, because it is cost. It's a cost, bro.
Lifelong.
Man.
Physical,
time,
mental, financial.
Man.
Everything.
But is it worth it at the end of the day? Yes, it is. But if you're not ready for it, don't.
And don't know what the wrong.
Don't force it.
Yeah. Everything happens for a reason.
So,
all right.
That's episode 50.
Peace.
Peace.